Right through the very heart of it? That's right up his alley. Here's your look at the new NECA toys, the New York Comic-Con exclusive Ghostface Takes Manhattan. This highly detailed and chillingly accurate Ghostface figure is a must-have for any collector. The figure stands 7 inches tall and comes packed with some bloody accessories. 5 swappable masks are features from the franchise, including some New York souvenirs as well as 2 knives, one that glows in the dark. Make Manhattan run red with this killer new exclusive. I think we better start spreading the news that he's slaying today. Before, of course, we get a closer look at the New York Comic-Con exclusive Ghostface. Let's grab the tape measure and see how tall the figure stands. In a moment as well, I'm going to bring in the ultimate Ghostface, the one that we had looked at before. Some elements of it seem to be shared with that one and this one here, and then it seems to be the case that they've used some brand new molding. The Ghostface here from New York actually stands about 6 3/4 of an inch in height, or the figure is going to be about 17 centimeters tall. Yeah, speaking of that other screen Ghostface, let's just slide over the one that we're about to have a look at and bring the original ultimate Ghostface. I know some would say it's not really the most ultimate of Ghostface. Obviously, some of the things that were a detractor from this one being a collector's fan favorite was the fact that maybe the rope, for example, wasn't long enough. His hood was too close to his mask. And of course, there was always the inevitable problem of the fact that the elbows were prone to breaking. Now, it does seem, though, at least his lower half, I'm going to talk more about this, obviously, in a moment, but it seems, though, his lower half is going to probably be the same. The legs and the shoes are going to be exactly the same between the two. But if you were to, say, look at the two and you put them back to back, one thing I did notice, though, is it seems like his shoulders are a little bit sharper. And it also seems like he's obviously just a little bit taller there also as well. But it does seem to be the case, at least, from Ghostface. From the waist down, at least, they seem to be identical figures. Now, the accessories that come included with the New York Comic-Con exclusive Ghostface, I would imagine are probably going to get trimmed down at some point and released as a version 2 Ultimate Ghostface from NECA down the road. If there was the off chance that that wasn't ever going to happen, I unfortunately had to pull the trigger and get this guy over on eBay. And it might very well be the most expensive NECA figure I have ever purchased. Already out the gate, this guy was just shy of being $100. Then I had to pay the shipping and all the brokerage fund stuff that went along with this. This guy was actually closer to about $170. Ouch. I almost should have even just gone to New York and got this in person. Speaking of New York, though, the things that come included with him that are exclusives to New York, the figure, first of all, comes included with a playbill. One thing I really like about the playbill is you can see that there's Ghostface on the front. If you look at the back, though, on the back there's the Statue of Liberty. Oh, wait, that's not the Statue of Liberty. It does have Ghostface's face. If you look on the inside of it, though, one thing I really also like is the fact that the cast inside are actually people that work for NECA Toys. You can see there's Randy Falk, and there's Blaine! Some of the characters, the cast, the crew responsible for producing some of our favorite things that NECA's been doing all this while are represented as actors and actresses inside the playbill. This is basically just a cardboard playbill, by the way. I'm going to put that to the side. The figure as well comes included with a tiny little Statue of Liberty. Missed opportunity, perhaps, that he never stabbed someone with the Statue of Liberty's torch? Maybe. The actual statue itself is made of a fairly soft plastic, but this can be carried around with him if you wanted to. I don't really have a plan necessarily to have the figure displayed with the Statue of Liberty, but hey, all the power to you. If that's the direction you wanted to certainly go. I'm going to put that over to the side. Figure comes with also a series of interchangeable masks. I'm really liking the way that they found a way to cleverly change the masks out without having to pop the head off every single time. Why am I doing it like that? Before we actually get down to looking at that, the figure also comes included with some series of swappable hands. Some of the hands are sort of questionable, though. I mean, these are hands clearly suited for holding things like, like his voice changer box, for example. But then if you look at one of the hands, which one is the hand that I was thinking of before? Maybe it is this hand right here. This hand, and I don't know if it's maybe just me, I'm looking at this, and I would swear to you, that's a trigger-firing finger hand. Maybe at some point they had planned, or they're planning to release this guy down the road, included with a shotgun. Now, we are also going to be getting that other Ghostface that also is going to have the shotguns, but also going to have, like, the bulletproof vest and all that other fun stuff that's going to go along with. But maybe we're also going to be getting this hand used for a future Ghostface. It's basically just going to be a repackage of this guy. I don't really know. I'm only just making that guess. He also, as well, comes included with this tiny little hand. Now this hand, if you take yourself the playbill, in between the pointer and the thumb, you'll find a tiny little section. And that tiny little section, if you could believe it, is more than enough, capable enough to hold the playbill in his hand. Like that. The figure as well comes included with this voice change box. Speaking of voice change box, you may notice that my voice is coming back. Not the best, though. I didn't want to bring in the other voice change box that came included, for example, with the other Ghostface, the Ultimate Ghostface. Notably, you'll see that this one's a lot larger than the one that we get here for the Comic-Con exclusive. I don't know why they wouldn't have used just the same one, unless maybe to go back and look at the movie again. Maybe it does actually have a slightly thinner voice-changing box than the original one we got before. It is about the same size, although this one is notably thicker. The figure also comes included with 2 versions of knife. Now, one version is glow-in-the-dark. It's this one right here. The other one happens to be the same knife, just cast here in silver plastic. And the actual guard and sections down below are all molded here in black plastic. And then, of course, you got the little bit of silver there. If I get my hand out of the way, a little bit of silver on the end of it. Now, you don't get all the other fun knives, for example. So don't do away with that other Ghostface from before. Like all the other bloody knives, let's bring all 3 of them in. It's a little happy family of bloody knives. None of these knives were also included with this release. So again, if you really wanted to, you could easily use the hands. Like, say, for example, let's grab the butcher knife. If you want to grab the knife, you can grab this hand, and you got yourself a fairly suitable replacement hand if you wanted to have him holding the knives. As he is right now, he has, let's move everything out of the way, The figure has already a gripping hand, but you'll see like the pointer finger is already molded to the thumb. It's only just enough quarters to accommodate the knife that he has right now. So I'm just going to carefully put the knife in there right now. He has, again, just enough space to accommodate that. So again, if you wanted to have him use the larger knives from the earlier released Ghostface, simply just use a different hand, just in case I'll pop the hands off and replace them that way. Okay, so here we go when it comes to his alternate heads. Now, I'm going to bring back in the original Ghostface Ultimate releases. Now, we got, 3 extra heads, not counting the one that he came included with. All of these were self-contained. In other words, if you want to change out the heads, for example, again, you would have to pop these off the head and just replace the entire thing. All of it you'd have to replace. Not this time around. Cleverly, what NECA did instead, you'll see that the masks themselves are actually just faceplates. You flip it around on the back. In fact, there's 2 pegs, 2 eyes looking at you. And this is just a case you're going to remove the head existing from the head, or remove the face from the head, and then you're just going to replace it with the one that you want to work with. Now, he has the clean mask right now, default, but he also has the cracked mask if you want to go that route instead. He also has a bloodied mask, which is basically just the exact same mask, but just has a whole lot more blood of it. He also comes with the stab mask. And again, it's all molded here just in green plastic. So again, if you want to have the figure displayed with the green knife, green mask, you could do it that route. And he also comes included with a rainbow mask, which is actually, looking at all of them, it's the shiniest of the masks. So there's always that option available if you wanted to. Again, changing out the mask, I can't believe how easy it is. You don't even have to really move back his hood either. Just going to take him from the chin, and you just detach it from the front. Easy as that. And then all you're going to do is find the mask that you want to work with. So if you want to go with the crack mask, for example, we're going to take the 2 pegs provided, line them up with now the 2 holes, fit that in place, snap that in place. Now you got the cracked mask. This needs to be something moving forward that they have to do with all of their Ghostface. Instead of, again, just popping an entire head off every single time, removing the faceplates, whoever thought of this idea could very well have been inside this playbill. Anyone responsible for this needs to get themselves a raise, because the idea of changing that is a lot easier. The masks themselves, again, all seem somewhat similar, although the white one, you'll notice, the chin sticks out a little bit further than the others. So I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Maybe it's just my own eyes playing tricks on me, but it definitely seems to take a very sharp cut when it gets to the bottom. Instead of the gradual curve, as you can see with normally the mouth, it definitely seems to be a little bit more of like a bird feeder. Really nice looking masks, though. All of the masks, all of the things about this Ghostface really make him, for me at least, the definitive go-to. It's just a shame that along with that, the price, I had to pay so much for this guy. Gotta think this guy's going to get a version 2 or more mass retail release at some point. Thing I also really like about this one is the fact that the hood has been corrected. So it's added now a wireframe on the inside, but look how much clearance. I mean, you could fit a family of 4 inside there. If you were to say compare it with the original Ultimate Ghostface, Like, the one thing I really didn't like about the initial release is the fact that the hood was so close to his face. Ghostface always should have like a really like rounded hood, kind of basically just wrapped around his face. And again, with the benefit of this being a wire frame is that you can really manipulate it any which way that you want. Not only is it a wire frame here, but it's also a wire back here as well. So you can also bend and move the point on the back of his cowl piece or on the back of his hood. So I really am happy with this one. There's nothing at all I can think of that I would have done differently with this Ghostface. Just really, really happy with the way that this one turned out. Okay, so for the rest of his outfit, I'm going to again bring back in the original one for a reference point. The sleeves are very similar. The actual danglings that he has, if you want to call them that, are very similar as well. And if you were to say, look at the two, the shoes and the legs are identical. In fact, I'm just going to put this figure down here for a second. When we looked at this one, remember he had like, well, you could kind of basically see the building block of how this guy was put together. This Ghostface has that. It's a little harder, of course, to bring everything up. You can see he has the exact same setup, but it seems like his torso, maybe not as much this area. This area seems to be the same, but it seems like his shoulders are a little sharper on the top. Not sharp, like to the point where you can feel it. It's not just even a seam line either, because if I move the seam out of the way, it seems like he's got a higher shoulder. And I don't know, maybe again, it's just me. It doesn't seem like his shoulder sits as high as it did on the newer one as it did on the original one. The arms themselves also seem like they're very similar too. So legs are going to be the same. The arms are shared between the two. They also seem to be the same. And one thing also about the sleeves is that they're also glued in place. So you can't bring the sleeves up, for example. If some might be a little bit bothered by that, by the fact that you can't then get access to the elbow bend if the elbow was, say, to break. But like the elbows, knock on wood, so far have held up on me. I mean, like they feel, I mean, to the point where I can easily bend the elbows and I don't feel like something's going to start to give way, or there's definitely resistance where it's telling me like, stop what you're doing, stop what you're doing. I don't have that. I had that experience when we looked at the other Ghostface. I don't have that experience as much looking at this one. For the articulation on this Ghostface, so his head's going to be on ball joint. If I was to say bring it back, by the way, the head is, by the way, you know what, we'll bring back the other one here as well. One thing I was kind of interested to see, if you bring this back, you can see like they've sculpted it in such a way that it actually looks like a material. See how it's a little looser on the back? This one basically was just a big round noggin, and then of course the face was on the front of it. So I kind of like that, even though it's really not a part you're ever going to really see on the figure. You can even see the way that would have been stitched on the back when they would have made the masks. Anyways, the head is going to be on a ball joint, so it does rotate back and forth. It looks up only about that far, and it looks down that far. And of course, you can also rock it back and forth as well. Just bring the hood back over. Boy, that hood is awesome. This is my favorite thing about the figure. Shoulders come out. They're on pin and hinge joints, so you can bring them out about there. About 90 degrees, a little less than maybe 90 degrees. You can take the arms and move them forward. You can move them back. The figure does seem to have a double bend in the elbows. So there's a hinge right there. Maybe there's only a single hinge. I'm only feeling one. Maybe there's one there. Yeah, okay. There's one right there. There's one right there. I was right. There's a double hinge on the elbow. Hands rotate also all the way around. And again, because his build seems to be similar to the other one, upper torso is going to be in a ball joint. The waist doesn't have any waist swivel or anything like that, but the legs do split out quite far, in fact. Bring the legs forward, bring the legs back. Swivel at the top of the thigh. There's a single hinge only on the lower knee. And you can, of course, rotate the lower leg. There's an ankle pivot back and forth this way, and you can also move the feet up and down as well. All of the things that I would have maybe been critical about, in fact, I probably wasn't critical when we looked at the original Ghostface. Let's just get this guy to stand. When we looked at this one, let's fix himself up here. When we looked at this one, problems I had right out the gate was the fact that his robe was too short, was the fact that his hood piece it sat too flush to, say, for example, the figure's head. The thing about now I feel like has been fixed with the newer Ghostface is obviously the robe is a lot longer, as it should be. The mask obviously is a little bit more movie accurate. I don't know why I'm not getting this guy to stand properly. The only other thing I would say is like his ankle is a little, at times, problematic when it comes to trying to get Ghostface to stand. He was standing fine earlier before. There we go. There we go. Okay. So again, like one thing I really like about this figure is, first of all, it has a longer robe, which should be the case right out the gate. It's got a better looking head sculpt. Whether you decide to settle on this one, you want to go with the stab, the bloodied head sculpt, the regular, just the clean face, or the rainbow mask. So it has lots of options available. The other thing I also really like is the way that the hood sits, where you've got that wireframe. It gives lots more clearance, a lot more leeway on the inside of his hood. And because it's also wireframe, you can, again, move that any which way that you want. He's also got the point that does the same as well. Unfortunately, like, my takeaway from this is it's a much better Ghostface, but it came, unfortunately, with the price of what I had to pay for it. If you were lucky enough to go to New York Comic Con, for example, when this guy was first available, I think originally the asking price was $40 for Ghostface. Good luck finding him now for $40. I don't know if I would wish myself to pay that price again if I wanted to track down another one of these Ghostface. I can only hope, with what all they've done now with this release, NECA Toys that is, that we are going to be getting probably this guy as a retail release at some point. If they are going to release him as a retail, they're probably not going to maybe include necessarily like the rainbow mask. I don't know. They might not even include like all of the masks. Maybe probably just like the white mask, the bloodied mask, the cracked mask. Maybe not even include the stab mask. I don't really know. But they certainly don't need to include like the playbill, and they don't need to include the little Statue of Liberty. Like, those are all things keep definitely for the exclusive. So if you still wanted to get that one. But as only I can make this as a plea to NECA Toys, I hope this guy does get a release at some point as a retail release. For those, unfortunately, that never got the chance to get the New York Comic Con, like, again, leave all the exclusives out that are, of course, attached to New York, and release this guy maybe even again with the included shotgun. But all in all, though, it goes to show, like, I like this one, but I love this one so much better. And it's a far more movie accurate Ghostface than the initial one that we got before. If you were lucky enough, congratulations to have got this guy at New York. If you are interested to get this guy, like I said, your only option really is to go online to places like eBay, for example. And already, I'm just like looking at the prices on what he's selling on eBay. We're talking like $120, $140, $170. I've seen him all the way up to like actually $210. I didn't pay $210 for it. I paid about $170 for it. I don't know if I would say it was worth $170, but it certainly was worth to add to my collection. So I guess based on what the asking price of him is right now, if you're able to find him, and you're able to find him for a good price, he's definitely one of the best, if not the best. He is the best Ghostface we've gotten from NECA Toys. Well, it could very well be the most expensive NECA figure I've ever purchased in my collection, asterisk. I'm putting that little asterisk in there because it was probably very well larger NECA figures that I bought, like, for example, like the Spider Gremlin. I'm trying to think of other ones, maybe like the quarter scale NECA figures. Those obviously probably would have been a little bit more expensive when I finally had to ship them. But when it sticks to 7-inch scale, Ghostface is the most expensive figure I've ever purchased from NECA Toys. Now, along with that, it's also the most happiest I've been opening up a NECA figure. First of all, getting this guy finally arriving to my doorstep, opening up the package. Let me actually just clarify, it wasn't right to my doorstep. I have the stuff delivered to my mailbox. I never risk a figure at $170 just randomly being dropped off at my doorstep. So let me just add a footnote to that. Picking this up at my post office, getting it home, getting the guy out of the packaging. This is the most excited I've been for a NECA figure for a very long time. I'm generally most excited when it comes to opening up NECA figures, but like the fact that this looks as good as it does, yes, it's a bit of a sting knowing that I had to pay the price that I did, but man, did NECA go all out with this release. It wasn't simply just a case that they took already the ultimate version of Ghostface, which I guess in some ways the building blocks of the body are both still the same, but they've completely redesigned the head sculpt. Added a completely new, simpler way of changing out the face, which is by far the easiest, best thing I think that goes along with this figure is the fact the faces are so easy to remove. The fact that the figure has, first of all, like 5 face plates to work with. I mean, I would have just been fine with a bloodied face, a cracked head, and obviously the clean mask. But the fact that we also get ourselves the rainbow mask, probably not going to display the figure with that, honestly, or the stab mask, probably not going to be displaying that figure with it, honestly. He also comes included, of course, with the Statue of Liberty, little statue. And he also comes included with the play kill. I kept in this entire review calling it the playbill because that's normally what it is when you go to theater plays. It was actually called play kill. Nice little play on words. And again, a nice little playful way of including also the little cast of crew, the cast and crew of NECA inside the playbill as actors and actresses. All little fun things that they added to this release of the Ghostface that if you had the chance to pick this guy up locally, congratulations. I'm very envious of the fact that you guys were able to get this guy in hand without having to pay obviously order this guy online. If you guys order this online, obviously, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But I got to think that with all the work and engineering that went into, first of all, brand new design of a head sculpt with interchangeable faceplates. Got to think that NECA is going to be planning to release this guy as a retail down the road. If that's the case, he probably won't be getting the play kill, and you won't get the Statue of Liberty statue, and I'm okay with that. There's still at least enough to go with this guy that even if they do release, let's just say, a retail version of this guy down the road, having the guy with the exclusives that he comes included with, I'm not going to feel robbed. I might feel a little more sting, the fact that I paid the $170 for this guy, but still, when it's all said and done, I'm very happy to finally have this Ghostface and put him on my shelf. Have you guys had the chance to get the New York Comic Con exclusive Ghostface? If you have, let me know down below in the comments section. And how do you have the figure displayed? Because, of course, he does have 5 faceplates to work with. Which one did you settle with when it came to displaying this guy on your shelf? Also, as well, if you guys enjoyed this video, I want to hit with a like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing, and you certainly would like to stick around for more, we've got a whole bunch of actually horror reviews coming your way this week, so if that's the kind of thing you guys would certainly like to come back to this channel for, make sure you're coming back here, not only for those horror reviews, but all the other things I'm doing here on a regular basis. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.